All right. Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay, so you can hear me. So first, Robert, thank you very much. You know, true leadership is what you've done after your son's tragic death, to have a vision, to implement it now. So that's true leadership. So my best to you and Kathleen. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Dean Reed and the faculty and staff, everybody here at Ithaca. It's great to be back here. I'm going to not speak behind the podium. If I was behind the podium, you could probably only see my head. All right, so good, you're awake. A little bit of humor. We got to relax here. We're going to have a dialogue. This is only my second time back to Ithaca, so it's really great. I was here 2 years ago. My daughter is now a freshman at Colgate. I think she's watching on live stream, so shout out to Caitlin. We came here and visited Ithaca, and we visited Cornell. My wife graduated from Cornell. And of course, my daughter liked Ithaca better than she liked Cornell, so shout out to my wife, Andrea. There she is, okay. And we toured the campus, and I could not believe all of the modernization, all the new buildings, the physical fitness center, the pool, and that magnificent brand new library. Holy moly. And so we went to the library, and I asked the lady, young girl who was touring, I said, when was the library built? And she sort of looked at me with this funny look, and she said, well, it's been here ever since the college was here. And I'm like, wow, I wish I knew they had a library when I was going to school here. Just joking, just joking. And actually, no, so it was really great to bring my family here and show them both where you know, my wife and I met. And my wife failed organic chemistry at Cornell, and that's why she was here this summer and we met. And so I think that was one of her greatest failures and my greatest success. She may say was her two greatest failures. We'll have to ask her. A little bit about myself. Actually, first, so by a show of hands, who here is here of their own free will? That you're not getting credit for class, you just wanted to come. Okay, mom and dad, put your hands down. You had to be here. So for everybody else who is just sheer pure will, I can guarantee the cost of my remarks will be worth it. So what you paid is going to be what you get for this, okay? All right, I'm going to talk about leadership. These are just my views, okay? These are just some of the things that over my 27-year military career I've come to think about. And so just a little bit about me, just so you understand, you know, where my career path has taken me. So, graduated in 1989. I went to flight school, ROTC here at Ithaca and Cornell. So I'm an Army aviation officer. I did tours in Korea and Fort Hood. And then after that, for about the last 21 years, I spent my time in special operations, where we were really focused, and especially after 9/11, we were focused on counter-terrorist missions. So that's just some of my background, and currently I'm at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the 82nd Airborne Division, serving as the Chief of Staff. So it's about an 18,000 paratrooper-strong organization, and I sort of run the staff. Before I go to the next slide's a clip from the movie 300. Who here has seen the movie 300? Okay, all right. What I didn't know, and Jeanette Watts told me that one of the producers of the movie 300 was from Ithaca, so I think that's pretty neat. The movie is actually based on a comic book. If you really want to read about the Battle of Thermopylae and Leonidas, you know, Stephen Pressfield, Gates of Fire is a great book. So I'm going to show this video clip. It's about 3 minutes, and I'm not going to talk about it till the very end. So I just sort of want you to think about what you're seeing in some of the things that he talks about, and then I'll come back to it at the very end, which is probably about an hour from now. So if I get close to that, let me know. Okay, that was a joke. It'll only be about 20 minutes. Well, I can tell you when I go to war, I don't want to do with a potter, a blacksmith, or a sculptor. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple of slides here, probably about 5 right up front. We're just going to talk a little bit about leadership in sort of the eyes of some different people. Now, this is not a political speech, okay? So, President Obama, leader of the free world. What does that mean? You ever think about that? I mean, the term started, you know, after World War II, Western democracies against Russia and its allies. I know you didn't think you were going to come get a history lesson tonight. All right, so the term came out, leader of the free world. And I think in that time, it's really sort of transitioned more to the values that we have as Americans. And the leader of the free world doesn't just represent democracy, I think he represents values. And so the question I ask when you think of the term leadership, how important is your values, your beliefs in leadership, and how you're going to view other people? So President Obama, Commander-in-Chief, leader of the free world, and the role that values play. Okay, how many New York Giants fans? Come on. Okay, I'm a diehard New York Giants fan. All right. free. You can all leave if you don't like the Giants. Anybody see the game this last weekend? Okay, Baltimore Ravens, all right? They go down in a minute 40. They come back, win the game. Great catch, Odell Beckham. I'm not going to talk about this year. I'm going to talk about last year with the Giants. They lost 6 games in the last 2.5 minutes combined by 15 points, okay? How important is winning? And what are your responsibilities as a leader to make your team win? Values, winning. Next. Who do you think it is? Steve Jobs. Okay. I think by all accounts, he was a toxic leader. Self-indulgent, bully, hazed, didn't give other people credit. I mean, he was probably just plain weird, if you think about it, okay? But he built one of the greatest corporations. I mean, he was a corporate leader, right? His products changed our life, right? I mean, how many people here have an Apple product? I would say probably just about everybody does, okay? Oh, yeah, big computers. All right. Hope your batteries don't run out. And any Samsung 7s, those things can't be in here right now. Yeah, okay. All right, back on point. I know I get a little distracted. So Steve Jobs, toxic. I mean, think about military leaders, Patton. I mean, he was a great military leader. If you ever see the movie, he walks in the hotel, in the hospital, asks the kid what happened, the kid couldn't say anything, and he slaps him. Whack. Could you imagine as a leader today if you went up and slapped one of your subordinates? All right. So Steve Jobs, toxic, built a great corporation, products that changed our life. And he did know one thing. He knew the power of why. All right? So if you like reading, and I like to read a lot about leadership and business, Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last, and it starts with why. Stephen Jobs understood why. He didn't just make computers. He made devices that changed people's lives. So he understood why. So he had some good qualities, but I think the toxic part was a little bad. And now, another great leader, Captain Kirk. Anybody notice the similarity between these two slides? I'll go back. Go forward. So all the things that Captain Kirk did. Let's see. The Doomsday Machine, defeated that. He even fought Nazis, right? He defeated the Klingons, kept peace in the Romulan and the Federation Empire, and he forged a team, all right? Successful time and time again. All right, so I ask, the leadership of Captain Kirk, he focused on his team, successful. So how does being able to build a team play in leadership? Finally, one of my real all-time favorite leaders, St. Mother Teresa. I just go by Mother Teresa. Right? Relentlessly focused, laser-focused dedication on her mission of helping other people, her servitude towards others. All right? So sort of gone through 5 examples, very different styles of leadership. Mother Teresa absolutely focused on what we'll call her customer, right? And she provided a service to that customer, and everybody else sort of saw her vision and fell in line with it. Captain Kirk focused on, I will say, his employees, his team, and how he had his team. And then Steve Jobs, who was focused on the product. I mean, he really didn't treat his employees well, and I don't think he was so concerned about the customer as he was his product, which provided to them. So very different approaches and styles of leadership. So, all different kinds of leadership. It's going to vary at all stages of your life. So I'm just going to talk. Here's the Army's definition of leadership. All right? Comes out of a field manual for those here in the front, my left, your right of the room. All right. What do we think about this definition? Is it a good definition, bad definition? Other definitions. All right. I'm going to call on, so everybody in here, Professor Rosenthal was my student advisor a number of years ago.
You had to say that out loud.
I did. Was my microphone on? I'm sorry. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you have a definition of leadership? One that you think of?
It's definitely influence.
Okay.
It's vision-driven.
Okay.
It's getting everybody to jump on the train
Yeah.
and not go off a cliff.
Okay. I won't stand too much further here. There's no universally accepted definition of leadership. There's just not. All right? It's what you think. Now, I don't really like this definition. Now, I got to be careful. Am I on the record for saying that in front of the Army? But the Army is a big business. The Army, active duty Army is 450,000. Guard reserves is 1 million. You take all the military, it's 2 million. So the Army is a huge business. So they have to come up with a definition that suits the entire business. Okay? And I shouldn't pick on it. I'm not the poor guy who had to write it, so I'm pretty happy with that. I don't like the word process. I think making a cake is a process, changing a flat tire on my car. So I don't like that word process. To me, it seems too linear. And I don't like the word influence. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about another word that I think is better than influence. Because there's a lot of ways. Now, it says influence via purpose, direction, motivation, but there's a lot of ways that I can influence you. Fear, coercion, deception, all right? Maybe by, you're motivated by reward. And I would tell, for the cadets here, there's 2 things that all soldiers love. And it's probably the same 2 things that all college students love. What are 2 things that everybody loves universally? Money, you're right, money. And time off. I mean, who doesn't like those 2 things in life? Soldiers like those 2 things in life. So I'm going to come back and tell you in a minute here what I do not like about, or what I do not like about the Army's definition. I do like improve the organization, accomplish the mission, improve the organization. But I think there's a better word in there. Okay. Why will people follow you? So everybody here should know, why do people follow me? You saw it on all the posters. Why do people follow me? Curiosity. They just want to see what I'm going to go do next. Okay. Probably not a good reason to have people follow you, just if they're curious to see what you're going to do. Another reason is you may be followed because you have a certain amount of rank, position, title, or authority. Okay? I'm a colonel. Anybody else in here a colonel? No. So I outrank all of you, except for if my wife was here, she obviously outranks me. Another shout out to my wife. Okay. So, and there's this myth that people think when you're in the military, just because you have rank, you tell people what to do and they're going to go do it, and it's that easy. It could be, there couldn't be anything further than the truth. So people may follow you out of curiosity. People may follow you because you have some amount of rank, position, title of authority, but that's only going to get you so far, and that's not really what leadership is about. So I think there's 2 other good reasons. One, I'll just call it, cognitive ability. So Dean Reed here. Him and I are going to have a discussion. He, after this lecture, wants to go back up to the library, which I didn't know existed. He wants to show me the library, and he wants to study, and he wants to go up there and read books. And I want to go downtown to the Pines. Is the Pines still here? The Dugout? Any of those still here? They're all gone. Okay. I'll tell you that war story later about the Dugout. I want to go downtown and get something to drink. So the dean and I are going to have a conversation. He's going to list his facts, his assumptions, his reasons, the end state, the risk of why he wants to go up the hill and show me the library and study, and I'm going to tell him my reasons why I want to go downtown. I'm going to dispute his facts. I'm going to make sure that he knows, I'm going to provide fallacies for his assumptions. I'm going to say that it's much better, lower risk for us to go downtown. The reward is greater, okay? And we're going to go do that. And he says, you know what, Mike? You're right. You have cognitively, logically convinced me that your way is better than mine. People will follow you if you have a logic way to go about something. But I think there's a 5th reason why people will follow you. And to me, it's the most important one, okay? And it really sort of is the end state of what I believe in with leadership. It begins with I, and I think it's a better word than influence. Who knows it? Somebody said it. Say it. Come on. Inspire. Okay? I believe when you inspire someone, that is the best way to lead them, when they are truly inspired. So, the first part of my definition about leadership is leaders inspire people to win. Okay? It's by will, it's tenacity, it's purpose, it's commitment. It's all those things that you heard Professor Rosenthal say. It's focus, it's drive, it's passion. Lead with passion. Don't want to think with it, you want to lead with passion. Okay? So how do you inspire people? And I'm going to sort of walk you through my thoughts on how to get to inspiration. If you want to read another great book on leadership, J.C. Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And he says, and it's a phenomenal quote, People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. All right? It's the basis of leadership to inspire people. They have to know you care about them. If you don't care about people, they may do what you tell them, but I can guarantee you they will not take personal risk if they do not believe in you. They will work hard, but they will not take personal risk if they know that you are not in it for their best interest. Inspiration. Okay. Sort of call it my thoughts. You call it a model. I wouldn't call it a model. And I'll sort of talk you through this real quick. So, over on the left-hand side, the leader and the lead. All right? There's a keystone there. Everybody here know what a keystone is? Okay, what is it? Engineer majors. What's keystone? My dad was an engineer. That was class participation for my father. It holds the arch together. It's the keystone. All right? In the Army, trust is the keystone that holds everything else together. Okay? The first step to get to inspiration is trust. And you probably can't see it real well. Well, maybe you can. My thoughts on what trust is. You know, we sort of instinctively know, but words have meaning. All right? If I trust you, I have a belief in your, and that's the way I describe it, competence, reliability, motivation, and integrity. You could pick however many, I guess they'd be adjectives, I didn't do real good in English, to describe it. Competence. Probably when you're starting off, you get out of college and your jobs, competence is probably that first most important thing. You have to be technically proficient in your job. You're starting off, you have to be competent. You have to be able to do what you're expected to do. Reliability. You're going to get it done. There's a commitment, there's a dedication, there's a drive. Motivation. You are motivated for the right reasons. Not for intrinsic, but for external. You're not motivated for what it's doing for you. You're motivated for what it will do for others. And integrity. You're going to do it the right way. So I believe to build trust, you have a belief in a person's competence, reliability, motivation, integrity. They're going to be able to do what they say they are in the right way, the right reasons, when they say they're going to be able to do it. So, we're going to then talk about sort of what I think is the second step, empowerment. How does empowerment work? Top down, bottom up. Is it a one-way street, two-way street, crossways, intersection, circle? Humor, come on now, come on. How's empowerment go? You're right, it's a two-way street. When the leader trusts his lead, because he's trained them, because they've worked together, they're empowered. They're able to go off and do what they need to do. The leader doesn't have to micromanage them. He knows it's going to get done. He underwrites the risk. He gives them direction, but they go and do it. Doesn't tell them how to do it. He tells them what to do. And you have to be able to underwrite that risk, and you have to be able to empower people. And it's uncomfortable. A lot of times somebody would tell me, hey, did you know that? No, I didn't know that. Did you know so-and-so was off doing this? No, I didn't know that. Well, should I have known? It makes you feel good when you know, but would you have done anything different, or could you influence the action? No. So the more I empowered people, almost the more uncomfortable I felt. But it's a two-way street, because I'm not worried about then. I'm now looking up. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking up, I'm looking out, and what am I doing for my boss? You want to be successful, take something off your boss's plate. You know, what interests my boss fascinates me. All right? If it's interesting to him, I'm really in tune with it. So empowerment's a two-way street, but it's based on trust. All right? And it flows both ways. Okay. So as a leader, though, I think there's really something more than just that trust. That trust is a keystone, but what I add to it, in just my opinion, is on the right-hand side of the screen there. And I put it in a scale, because all these things are balanced. It started with servitude, and that's what Mother Teresa, obviously started with. It's about serving others. Leadership is a privilege and a responsibility to serve others. But it has to be balanced. Every situation, there's going to be give and take. And I think it's humility to confidence, kindness to toughness. The most important trait, if you have to name one, I think is humility, a modest view of one's importance. Too many times I think we see leaders in these roles where it's, the follow me, I'm out in front. And that's absolutely important. But the leader always shines his light on the lead. So humility. But it has to be balanced with confidence. Because I think if you weren't confident or overconfident, you'd be arrogant. Nobody wants to follow that arrogant person. We sort of talked about he's only in for themselves. But if you're not really confident enough, you can't really inspire people. I think there's some innate qualities to leadership to being confident. So humility to confidence. And then kindness to toughness. You just have to be nice to people. All right? As I said before, everybody is human. I've had bad days. All right? You're going to have bad days. People you work with, people you work for, people who work for you are going to have bad days. And you just have to get to know your people. All right? And it's really just being kind. They know you're the boss, or they know you're their leader, and they probably want to do good. When people do things wrong, it's probably not because they wanted to mess up your day. Okay? So you have to be kind to people, but you have to be tough. And I guess especially, obviously I'm a little oriented on the Army here. We have to be tough, right? Because our nation demands that of us. And the situations that we've been placed in the last 15 years, and will be placed in again, demand a toughness, all right? The military is a tough sport. So humility, confidence, kindness, toughness. And I think all of that then leads off to that top part of inspiration. And that's just sort of how I view leadership. Those are just, my thoughts on it. So. My definition, okay? The why, what leaders do, and that's just how I sort of look at it. What did we see in the clip with Leonidas? First, he talked about values, why we march for our land, our families, our freedom. Those are values-based. They're important as a leader. All right? He was obviously inspiring to the Spartans. Okay. I think he won. Did they all die? Yes, they all died. Forget about that point. They motivated, they inspired the Greeks to defeat the Persians. Okay? Yeah, it sucks they all had to die doing it. That's the price of freedom. Okay. But the one thing that leaders do, and it's, I think, the why of leadership, is culture. Leaders inspire, they protect, they develop, they manipulate. But leadership is about culture and protecting the culture. And I think it's culture of empowered, winning teams that are built on trust, ready to accomplish the mission, whatever that mission is. For the United States Army, it's in defense of our nation. So that's what I think leadership is. You got to win. Okay. Does anybody know who wrote this? Somebody knows. We're just going to stare at each other uncomfortably. Mother Teresa, anyways, poem. I'm not going to read it to you, but I will read the last line because I think it's a great poem about leadership. It just talks about all the things you have to do, even though it's sort of hard. It is hard being a leader, that servant, responsible to other people. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyways. You just keep going. You see, in the final analysis between you and your God, it was never between you and them anyways. Think about this poem as it relates to leadership, and I think Mother Teresa absolutely got it right. Okay. Last thing I'm going to talk about here is what motivates me. This is my family. All right. There's one thing in the picture you see and you probably don't notice, and there's another thing you can't see. I'm going to talk about what motivates me. This is a memorial in a unit I served in that has 94 names on the wall, 47 of them killed since 9/11. All right. I am absolutely motivated by service to men and women that I'm so proud stood up to protect our nation. Because let me tell you, we live in a great nation. 2 flags in the back. I'm motivated by the patriotism of my country. All right, I'm an American, and I could not be any prouder to serve in the United States Army. And I'm motivated by my family. All right, I'm going to leave service. At some point, whatever careers you have, you're going to leave. All right, and when you leave, make sure that you leave with your family, your friends, your reputation, and your integrity. I could do the greatest things in my military career, and when I hang it up, nobody's going to remember me. Nor should they. The institution goes on because it's about service. But I sure hope my family's still there, and I love them dearly, and I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of Americans, men and women that serve, and I'm very proud of our nation. That's all I have. Thank you very much.